So is this the best zombie apocalypse survival gun? We're going to talk all about it today. Welcome to the Muzzlebroke channel, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 1,000 round range review of the Hydra Weaponry Vipera. In today's video, we're going to go ahead and go over what makes the Hydra Vipera a special gun, talk about what I did to this loadout specifically, give you guys the specs of the gun, talk about my first impressions and first shots at the range, evaluate the overall performance, including some accuracy testing, some build drills for speed, and talk about malfunctions, if any. And then we will tie everything together with my final thoughts on the gun and try and answer the question, is this gun worth it and is this gun for you? Real quick disclosures, Hydra Weaponry sent this gun out to the channel. They're not paying me for this review. No one pays me anything, and because of that, I would really appreciate it if you guys could subscribe to the Muzzlebroke channel. It is free, it is easy to do, it helps me out an absolute ton. I'm surely gonna get fired from my new job, so if you could subscribe to the channel, it would really help me out and I would really appreciate it. So before we evaluate this gun specifically, we do kind of have to talk a little bit about Hydra Weaponry, the company, and what this gun is kind of designed to do. Hydra Weaponry is a company that basically set out to make the one and only AR you'll ever need. And what I mean by that is you could actually change the caliber and magazine compatibility of this lower pretty darn easily to fit pretty much whatever your needs may be. This gun specifically is a 9mm MP5 mag compatible system, but Hydra Weaponry makes their AR lower so you could change the magwell and change the barrel very easily so that you could actually shoot different calibers out of the same gun, out of the same lower, right? Now I will say I don't have any other lowers or any other barrels for my Hydra Weaponry review, which is a little unfortunate because I would like to show you guys how easy it is to actually change the magwell and change the barrel. Later on in the review, I do take out and put back in the barrel to show you how easy it is during the accuracy test, but we'll get to that down the road. But the increased modularity of the Hydra systems are really what kind of makes them special. So we will kind of have to keep that in mind as we kind of go throughout today's range review, because this system is kind of all about trade-offs. So let's go ahead and dive into it. Let's talk about what I did to this build specifically, starting muzzle to butt. Up front, we do have one of the most ridiculous muzzle brakes I've ever played with, the JMac Customs LAF brake. Sticking with our JMac Customs theme, I did go ahead and add one of their little finger stops up to the front of the gun as well. Added some Mythic Tactical little rail covers for our M-Lock rail. Added the absolute worst red dot of all time. Please, no one buy the CH Precision Duty XL. I really hate this optic. It's terrible. It went out on me like 3 or 4 times during the 1,000 round range review, and it was really pissing me off. My dot died. Here, just pause it real quick. Ah! And it died again? Hold on. All right, there we go. Wait, why is it doing this? Whatever. Gun came with just a mil-spec charging handle. I did not change the brace or the pistol grip that came with it from Hydra Weaponry. It came with this B5 Systems pistol grip, which is actually a pretty good grip. I did enjoy that. Got the SBA3 pistol brace. I'm actually not a huge fan of SB Tactical. I think all their stuff is very loose and floppy and terrible. But until January, when SBRing all these guns is free, we are gonna rock with it. And that is all that I did from this gun for the range review, so let's go ahead and dive into it with these specs. So this gun's government name is gonna be the Hydra 15 Vipera 9mm H5 pistol. This model specifically is formatted to take our standard MP5 mags. We do have a 8-inch barrel that sits upon the Hydra CQB upper receiver, all made from mil-spec 7075 aluminum. This does come with mil-spec AR internals and also a lifetime guarantee on this gun from Hydra Weaponry, which is pretty cool. The handguard also features 4 QD mounts for sling attachment, and of course this gun does come from Hydra with their quick caliber change system that includes a mechanism on the upper to quickly remove the barrel and their modular lower receiver that does allow you to switch out the magwells. With the brace collapsed, the gun does have an overall length of 23 inches, an overall height of about 10 inches, and an overall weight of about 5.5 pounds. And the MSRP of this bad boy is going to be at that 1,200 Dino Nugget price point. So let's go ahead and talk about my first impressions of the Vipera here from the factory. I mean, obviously the first thing you have to address is kind of how interesting the design of the system is. This is really the only gun, at least that I'm familiar with, that has this much modularity. With the right magwell and the right barrel, you could shoot 7.62x39, 5.56, 45 ACP, and even in the 9mm space, we could change out the MP5 mags for Glock mags or Colt mags. That was kind of one of the most interesting things that first caught my attention about this gun. I do think it has a pretty good feel to it. It's a fairly lightweight PCC. Before I scratched the piss out of it at the range, the fit and finish of this gun was pretty nice. And I did appreciate that it takes AR style controls, because we could switch out pretty much anything on this build that we really would want to. As far as concerns and dislikes out of the box, my biggest concern was this gun was going to be a jack of all trades and master of none. And that's nothing against Hydra Weaponry or anything that I really saw on the gun, but anytime you're trying to like do too much out of a system, you usually just end up kind of doing a shitty job at everything. The same can kind of be said about like multi-caliber suppressors. They suppress everything, but like they don't really do a great job. I was a little concerned with this guy that, you know, maybe we could switch up the calibers and switch up the barrel, but maybe it won't have the best tolerances because of that, and it would kind of do a crappy performance job. So that was a small concern I had. Other than that, the only other thing that really kind of drove me a little bit nuts about this gun specifically was kind of this block right here. This block here on the upper is basically the component that allows you to quick change the barrel. So this piece being where it is on the handguard is necessary unnecessary. But especially in this kind of short configuration, this little barrel change block kind of just like kept getting in the way of where I wanted to put my hand. That's why I landed on this JMac finger stop here. It seemed to be the most comfortable foregrip for me to kind of clamp the gun. And even you can see right here, my kind of pinky and ring finger are still kind of messing with this barrel block. Not that it's like uncomfortable or like hinders the performance of the gun. It's just something that irritated me a little bit. But again, all about trade-offs. If we didn't have that block there, we wouldn't be able to switch the calibers. So I'm sure you're sick of me talking because I'm also sick of talking. Let's take you to the range for first shots with the Vipera. So we got the very first shots with the Hydra Vipera pistol caliber carbine style gun. This one is taking our MP5 mags. And I did just find a nice, pretty little sunflower out here at the range. And we were going to incorporate the good vibes of the sunflower and hopefully have a very positive range experience with the Vipera. Here we go, first shots. Okay, so shot well, my sunflower stayed intact. It is a little snappy, it is a little poppy. Not horrible, again, it is a 9mm gun. Maybe a hair snappier than I'm used to with 9mm guns, but it shot well, we didn't have any issues with it, so we'll have to see if the sunflower sunshine vibes continue. So first shots with the gun were not too bad. Anytime I run some mags and I don't have any flaws or malfunctions, I'm a happy little guy. Like I said at the range, the Vipera maybe has a very slightly increased pop to it than some other 9mm PCCs that I've shot. That being said, I mean, as you can see, it's not like it's throwing me back or has any crazy muzzle climb. It was pleasant to shoot, it was comfortable, and I was having a really good time running it. No big concerns or qualms with the gun after the first shots. I will also note at this point, I again forgot to clean the gun before the 1,000 round range review. I really need to stop doing that, but that's okay because the gun was running quite well. For this 1,000 round range review, we ran mostly this Blazer 115 grain because it is cheap and I am poor. And despite being a very cheap 9mm round, the Vipera was eating them very nicely. After the first shots, we went and filmed the montage for the beginning of the video and we had no malfunctions, no jams, no issues extracting. And I gotta say, I really do love running the MP5 mag. Now you can get the Vipera with other magazine compatibilities. Obviously, it's like the whole point of the gun, but I did really enjoy the MP5 mags. They were super easy to load, they fed really well, and they were just easy to deal with. So one last thing that I really didn't like about this gun, and that's gonna be that this gun does not keep the bolt locked to the rear on an empty mag. Now this gun does come with our traditional bolt release, and if you press it down and hold the bolt to the rear, it does lock and does operate as normal, but on an empty mag, while you're shooting, it just doesn't lock back on its own. After I was playing with this at the house, I did reach out to Hydra Weaponry. That is part of the design for the MP5 magwell specifically. I cannot speak to if the bolt hold open functions in the appropriate manner with other magwell compatibilities, but I can tell you for the MP5 mag, we do not have a bolt hold open function, which I guess you wouldn't on an MP5 anyway, but just something that I thought was interesting because we do obviously have AR style controls. So after we shot about 700 or so rounds through this gun, I did want to go ahead and test the accuracy. For this accuracy test, I did also want to see if changing the barrel would shift the point of impact for the optic, so we tested that out as well. So one of the coolest things about the Hydra Weaponry Vipera here is that you can switch the barrel and switch the caliber. Now today we just have the 9mm MP5 magwell and a 9mm barrel, but theoretically you could switch this magwell to 5.56, 7.62. You could also switch it to take Glock mags or Colt mags. But one of the things that I did really want to note while we're kind of doing the accuracy testing for this is if there's going to be a shift of impact after we remove and place back the barrel. So what we're going to do is we're kind of going to do our accuracy test as normal. We're at about 45 yards here. I'm going to squeeze off 5 rounds pretty carefully. We're gonna go check that group. I'm gonna then mark the group. Then we're gonna pop out the barrel, throw it around, play some baton twizzlers or whatever the hell the band people do, throw her back in, take 5 more shots and see if there's a shift of impact. Basically, if you would need to re-zero your dot after changing the barrel. Okay, that's a lot of talking and not enough shooting. So let's get this done. All right, let's check that group. So there's our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's actually a really good group. Obviously my dot isn't zeroed because I suck, but that's a very good group with that. So let's go ahead, rip out the barrel, put it back, see if there's a shift of impact. So to pop that barrel off, all we have to do is take this lever, flip it, and the barrel should come right out. There we go. Okay, cool. And then this piece pops like that. These 2 little levers go to the side. See how hot this is. Not too bad. And that barrel should just slide right out. Look at that. Ta-da! So at this point, what you could do is you could go ahead and switch the magwell out then as well. That's super easy to take off. Again, I don't want to show you that because of the, overlord laws on this platform, but super easy to do, not too bad. And then you could switch the caliber, switch the magwell, takes AR, AK, whatever the hell, mags. Then you slop in your correct caliber barrel and you're off to the races. Just for kind of our demonstration purposes, we're just sticking with that 9mm barrel, but you can see the barrel's out. Ta-da! Okay, we're gonna go ahead and put it back in. And then once that's indexed, we'll just go ahead and do that whole process in reverse. I love my misuse of every tool that I get. Okay, all right, so that's in there pretty good. Let's go ahead and check the impacts. All right, let's go check. Okay, so I did have one absolute flyer, but I think that's on me. Otherwise, those shots are pretty darn close. You can see that's my original circle, and we maybe had a couple that broke that circle line. So we may have had a hair of an impact shift there from removing the barrel and putting it back in, but to be honest, that's not terrible. I mean, those are pretty close. So very interesting results with that accuracy test there. Both those groups we shot were pretty tight, which is great for a 9mm PCC. And interesting to me that the point of impact didn't actually shift that much. I really thought that once I removed the barrel and put it back in, it would be nowhere near where that original 0 was. And it did shift a hair, but not incredibly significant. It's one of those things where, you know, obviously if you have the time, 0 your optic after a barrel change for this guy. But if you were in a pinch, I mean, you could switch out the barrel and still be, I guess, combat accurate, we could call it. Now, obviously, if you were to switch the magwell and switch the caliber of the gun, your optic 0 would be even more off just due to the ballistics of the different rounds, but a fun exercise with the Vipera nonetheless. So after we shot slow, we had to shoot fast. So we went right into the build drills with this guy. All right, so we are just about finishing up the 1,000-round range review with the Hydra Weaponry Vipera. I, for some reason, have not found an amazing cadence with this trigger. I mean, I don't think my ego is inflated that big, but usually I'm able to shoot these guns pretty damn fast. Let's see if I can't not suck. Let's see if I can't not improve. We'll run some build drills with it. We are about at the 800-round mark. No malfunctions so far, so that's awesome. But let's see if I can't get a cadence with this trigger going. So that was a 1.18, not terrible. Ah, trigger freeze, 1.16. I really got to beat these times. This is getting embarrassing. All right, that was a 1 second flat, so pretty happy with that one. Oh my God, why am I doing this? 1.11. Oh my God. See, I'm just a little choppy with this. I don't really quite know why. That was a 1.25. So fastest time was 1 second flat. That's not too bad. I would really like to change the trigger. I'm not sure if this is just me sucking with the mil-spec trigger or just something with the cadence, but I'm a little bit slower with this gun than I would like to be. Okay, so to critique myself, I really should have upgraded the trigger beforehand. It was either something about me that day or something about this gun where I just could not get into a really good cadence of the trigger and reset. And you know that it just kind of is what it is. So as far as performance overall, we had some good accuracy, we had some decent speed, and more importantly, we had 0 malfunctions. With any gun we have on the channel, that's usually one of the more important things of the range review is, did it jam? Did we have issues with it? And thankfully for the Vipera, the answer to that question is no. So in regards to performance, I really don't have many complaints. But tying everything together for the final thoughts on the Vipera here, I think it does warrant a little bit more of a discussion. The theme of this system for me is kind of trade-offs. So here's what I like, and here's what I think you could really use the gun for. I definitely like the idea behind it. To me, thinking of the modularity of this, I kind of go to like zombie apocalypse, or your mom says you can only have one gun for the rest of your life. I think this system would really excel in that role. If it's the end of the world and I'm scrounging for ammo, I really need to be able to shoot whatever I can get my hands on, and with the right additions, this system would allow you to do that. In that situation, I would love to have the AR magwell, the AK magwell, the Colt mag, the Glock mag. I would want to have every barrel caliber and magwell option that I possibly could so that I could swap this gun around and shoot whatever bullets I could scrounge up. So I think for that situation, this gun would excel in that role. Same kind of thing if your mom says you're only allowed one gun. You can technically have one gun, one lower, and switch out the magwell and barrel so you could shoot 7.62 with AK mags. You could shoot 5.56 with AR mags. You could shoot 9mm with whatever mags you want. It's kind of a good workaround to the one gun technicality, which actually would make this an incredible candidate to SBR. You can SBR the lower of this, and you could basically run an SBR in any caliber and configuration you so choose, which is a pretty cool function. Other things that I like, AR compatible style controls, which is always nice for customization. And I will say I did like the way this build turned out. I think it looks like a really cool little PCC. It's pretty lightweight, it's pretty easy to maneuver. I did enjoy shooting it. But again, talking about trade-offs, let's talk about what I didn't love. I mentioned it earlier, this block. If I did have a longer handguard, it wouldn't be that much of an issue, but for this short handguard, this block just kind of like really got in my way. Not the end of the world, but it just kind of made my support hand a little bit less comfortable. For the review, I didn't want to tape this up or anything because I wanted to show you guys that barrel change, but to be honest, I might throw like a little bit of goon tape or something around this just to make this a little bit more comfortable in the future. For this model specifically, the fact that we did not have a bolt hold open was a little irritating, and it is supposed to be like that with the MP5 mag compatibility from Hydra Weaponry, so it's not like something's wrong with the gun, but just something that irritated me a little bit. I would say the biggest thing that I didn't love about this gun was how slow I was with it, and like I said, you know, I may have been having a little bit of an off day, but I do really think it was something about that direct blowback system with the mil-spec trigger that was kind of giving me a little bit of like choppy speed shots. Again, something that is very correctable. I definitely could throw a better AR trigger in this and be off to the races. So I definitely would like to do that moving forward as well. To tie this entire review together and kind of try to answer the question, should you get this gun? If you were in the market for a very modular AR style system that you wanted to be able to shoot different calibers through with different barrel lengths and different setups, I would say, yeah, this is a very viable option. If your girlfriend says you can only have one gun for the rest of your life, this is an amazing workaround to that. If you're running through zombie hellscape and you only have one gun and come across multiple calibers, I think this would be a great option for that as well. Am I going to tell you that this is the fastest, most light recoiling, high-speed pistol caliber carbine you could buy? Absolutely not. That's not what it's meant to do. That's not what it's built for, and that's not what it does. That being said, it did perform. We ran 1,000 rounds, no malfunctions, so you're not getting a garbage gun at all. I'm just saying this isn't going to be as soft shooting as an MP5 or as speedy as some of the other PCCs out on the market. If you like the design and you like the look, you're going to get a gun that really performs and isn't going to jam on you, which is incredible. But if you wanted the softest shooting PCC, I'm not quite sure I would recommend this. That all being said, I was really impressed with the Vipera here. My initial concern with this was jack of all trades, master of none. I was afraid that maybe due to the modularity, we would have some poor tolerances that would maybe give me jams or accuracy issues, and we didn't have that at all. So very impressed with this guy. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed today's 1,000 round range review of the Hydra Weaponry Vipera. I really appreciate you guys watching these videos with me. I have a ton of fun making them. I have a ton of fun setting these guns up, and it's just a really good time. But if you could do me one huge favor, it would be to subscribe to the Muzzle Broke channel. I really would appreciate that. Today's video was sponsored by absolutely no one. I pay for my own range fees, my own ammo, and unlike Andrew Tate, I do have to pay my cam girl, so it does get a little costly. We have some really awesome guns coming up next on the channel, so you're not going to want to miss that. Hit that subscribe button. Make sure you don't miss a cool video. You guys have a safe and amazing week, and I will catch you at the next Muzzle Broke video.